Misfit.
Yeah.
All right, I want to hear, guys, why do you hate Jesse Lee Peterson? Or what was the thing about Jesse Lee Peterson?
Okay, listen.
What's going on?
I was riding in the car with Wunda, and Wunda was like, "Yo, you know who Jesse Lee Peterson is?" And me, I have a thing where I have horrible experiences, so I tend to block them out. So I guess when you first exposed me to this guy, I must have blocked it out of my memory because I had no idea what Wunda was talking about. And he played me some of the clips, and I was like, "This motherfucker sound like a coon." And I was like, "I wonder if Chris ever talked to me about this guy. I'm gonna ask him." And then I was like, look, I bet you like all this shit this dude is spewing, Chris is gonna be like, yeah, I love that shit. And sure enough, not 2 seconds later, I love that guy. I love that fucking guy. Are you kidding me? Can you please explain to me?
Well, what did you hear?
Okay, so he had said,
or do you have the clip?
First of all, no. I'm gonna paraphrase before we can even play that. He wants to hire black people to pick cotton. He said that picking cotton teaches you how to work harder.
He didn't say he was going to hire them. He said he's just going to take black people because they're lazy, the lazy ones.
Yeah.
By plantation.
That's even worse.
Make them pick cotton so they know what hard work is.
He is detrimental to every black person in the entire world.
I don't think he was serious when he said that.
You think he was trolling?
Yeah, he's a huge troll.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I hate about him.
Because
people just don't take him as a troll because he's old.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't say it as a troll. He just says shit.
Because you're black and you're taking that role as a coon just for clout, just to be a troll.
I think he believes the sentiment in like he believes black people are lazy for the most part. But then the whole thing where he takes it into I'm gonna buy a plantation and put them back to pick cotton.
Yeah.
He's trolling in that sense.
He also said racism is not real and has never been real.
I don't know about never been, but...
And he has the audacity to say in the same conversation that he lived under the Jim Crow ruling, but racism was never real.
Wait. He said that, they were just protesting. The police weren't being bad to them. The dogs, whenever there's a protest...
It was allowed by the Democrats back in the day.
That was factual.
Hold on.
Wait.
Go ahead.
That was factual. The Democratic Party back in the civil rights era was the bad party.
Yeah.
However, you cannot say that. You cannot brush off civil rights protests and just be like, "Oh, it was protest, so that's why the dogs were out there, and that's why they had hoses on them because they were just trying to contain them." No, they were fucking people up. They were they were sicking dogs on kids and shit. Like this shit was real. Mm-hmm. So, you as a black man, I'm not holding you to your color. But have some respect in terms of what you're talking about, especially as an older person. You should know how bad the civil rights.
That's why I don't respect him because he's doing it for clout.
But how do we know what his experience was as opposed to what you're talking about?
No,
because he has an actual experience, and we're talking about what we've been told.
No. I'm talking about what we've seen. We've seen the Emmett Tills. We've seen the things that has happened in that period, the Rosa Parks. We've seen all of that.
Well, I think Emmett Till like way before.
It wasn't way before.
That was a long time.
That was like sparked it. That sparked it.
Yeah, but what year was that?
I can't remember the year.
That sparked the civil rights?
Yeah, pretty much. Because that happened, and then it got on Jet Magazine, and that went worldwide. And then it was like, we really got to start paying attention to what's going on down there. And then from there, it was like Rosa Parks, and then that's when it kind of like...
All right, here's what I'm saying. Like, I don't agree with everything Jesse Lee Peterson says. The reason why I appreciate him and I love him is because he does a lot of talk about men and how men are supposed to, like their role. He
talks about betas a lot.
He talks about betas and all that type of stuff. Like he actually, like some stuff that he said on some of his videos actually helped me personally with like my anger and with like my guidance on, what to be as a man. So I always appreciated him on that. Now, when he says racism never existed, and like I don't believe that. I don't know though if he's talking about, because he even admits that he's not the smartest man So I don't know if he's talking about systematic racism, and we've had this argument a lot, or if he's just talking about racism itself. Now, I assume, because anytime he explains that, because people will ask him, what do you mean by there's racism never existed? He explains systematic racism. He doesn't explain just racism of, I'm a white person, I hate you because you're black. You get what I'm saying? So I think that's sort of like to clarify that.
Yeah, but you can't just brush under the rug him doing the whole I want to get lazy black because they're lazy. I want to make them work on the cotton fields as just trolling. Like there's some because that's detrimental.
That's trolling.
It's not detrimental.
You can have
How is it detrimental?
You can have your beliefs, but because it's spreading a false. That's a false word. You're spreading a false word. That's how it's detrimental.
But how is it detrimental? How is it hurting? How did it hurt you before you even saw it today?
Oh, me personally, it didn't hurt. It hurt me.
So how is it detrimental to?
Because it can place in the psyche of impressionable black minds of how things can be and how things should be in that guy's view, in that guy's point of view. That's what I'm saying.
I think it's more tough love than it is.
So he's saying, let me show y'all blackies how to work. So let's go pick some cotton.
I'm gonna call you lazy, so you go, no, I'm not fucking lazy. I'm gonna show you that I'm not lazy.
What kind of reverse psychology bull? He's not a doctor.
Reverse psychology.
That's the same thing like the Cavaliers.
You don't need to be a doctor to use reverse psychology.
When he called them thugs.
Huh?
Like when he called them thugs.
Man, there's always an excuse for everything, bro. When you call us thugs, you're not racist. When you fucking say, I'm going to make y'all pick cotton because you're lazy, you're not racist. When can we call things racist?
He literally said at that time,
I didn't say it wasn't. No, I didn't say it wasn't racist. I'm just saying you're not listening or even like thinking about what he's saying. You're just emotionally reacting to it and going, no, fuck you, you coon. Instead of going like, okay, why is he saying that? Because if I thought that same way, then I would still have the same anger problems I had, and I still would have the guidance that I lacked before. Because I disagree with a couple things he said. You know what I mean? I don't think that way. So it's like I'm just saying it's not racist, but let's look at it. Just because it's racist doesn't mean we can't look at it and see what it's about. With that. Analyze it.
I'm not screaming that it's racist or anything. I just screaming the fact of just saying it. I just feel like it's all for clout.
Yeah, but why are you so like hard on trying to find racism?
It's not that I'm hard on it. It just falls in my lap. I wasn't looking for this clip. He told me about it, and I just found it to be racist.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that, but what you said before, where you were like, when it's calling us thugs, we can't say it's racist. When we're doing this, we can't say it's racist.
Because I mean, it's true. Like, okay, so if somebody calls me a thug based on the color of my skin, and they can say that it's based on the color of my skin, you would still make the argument that, well, everybody gets called thug. Anybody could be called thug.
Because you just said based on the color of your skin.
Right, but I'm telling you that happens though.
But anytime you told me the story, it's always he called me a thug, and then you assume that it's because you're black. You don't know for a fact.
Well, why else would, if I'm dressed to the nines, why else would it be that he would call me a thug?
I've been called a thug before by white people.
Yeah, but I mean, look at you.
Yeah, but what does that mean? Yeah, you're right though.
Right.
You're right. Mm-hmm. That's why I don't get mad at it, because I do sort of look like a thug. Mm-hmm. I'd probably think I was a thug. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I can't get mad at that. I don't call it racism. I don't call it whatever. Exactly. So that's where we bring it back to.
Call me a thug if you a thug.
Well, this is what I'm saying. This is where I think you're trying to make it more than it is. Mm-hmm. Is going, oh, it's detrimental to black people. Mm-hmm. I don't see it as detrimental to black people. I think it's just a guy who has a YouTube channel and says what he wants to say.
But then some people takes this platform to become their own leader of something. So you don't know if his opinion is something that he's trying to make a culture. So we don't even want to form other people to have that. Yeah, black people are lazy. We should get a plantation and have them work on it so they know.
Well, he's basing that off of welfare, and he's basing that off of government handouts and affirmative action.
Yeah,
and all that.
Also could work in the isn't it fact that white people use government assistance more than we do?
Yeah. And
so
they
don't be on a plantation.
And they become lazy
Matter
too.
of fact, I should buy a plantation and put some white people on that motherfucker.
Yeah, and hire them. Yeah.
The fuck?
Yeah, and
minimum wage. Yeah. You should.
See how it fucking feels. Fuck boys.
But see, that's the mentality you have, and that's what doesn't make sense to me. Is why are you mad at them?
Maybe
I'm not the one mad at that point. I'm mad at him saying that there's no such thing as racism.
No. When you're saying the thing of like, I should hire a bunch of white, like I'm gonna do it back to them and see how they like it.
Maybe it's
when they never did it.
It's ancestral.
I think that's horseshit.
You think ancestral is horseshit?
I don't think the anger and hatred is. I think it's more based on brainwashing.
Crazy. Are you kidding me? Iraq and Israel have been fighting for thousands of years. That's just
an ongoing thing for thousands of years.
This is an ongoing thing. America's a pretty
Slavery's
young country.
ended.
No, but it's still a young country. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but we've had how many? What? Hundreds of years. We have knowledge at our fingertips.
I'm not saying things aren't better. Things are 1,000% better, of course. I'm just saying there's still things that needs to be worked on. You know what I'm saying? And it starts by
always going to have things being worked on.
This is where he's coming from, is what I'm saying. Is that anybody that's getting that's on welfare and that's living off of welfare and government handouts, all that stuff. Affirmative action. It creates a culture of lazy people that don't have to
target the black people.
It is. Let me tell you why. Because affirmative action is for black people. So if you don't have to work as hard to get into college as a white guy or an Asian, who Asians are really the ones that get the raw end of the deal because they have to score higher on tests than anybody. And they get replaced with people all the time. Like they'll replace an Asian with you just because you're black because they want to have the numbers.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Affirmative action was something that had to be placed because at one point in time, colleges weren't picking you up if you were black. Just even if you could have the best grades and they weren't picking you up.
It wasn't because you were black.
So what was it? Because you didn't have good grades?
You didn't have the grades. And that's where we go now into generational. Where the generation that has knowledge at our fingertips, we can literally learn anything we want. We have the Matrix on YouTube and on the internet. There's really nothing holding anybody back from learning something.
That's true.
That's true.
You get what I'm saying? And the fact that's what I'm saying about the affirmative action thing is that it's creating a culture of lazy people. That don't have to work as hard. There's people who walk on a college campus who are black and inside in their mind they don't know if they belong there or not. And that's not because of racism, it's because of affirmative action. It's because am I here because of affirmative action or is it because I had the grades?
Isn't it if they're there because of affirmative action, it's low-key racist?
It's racist against other people.
It's racist, period. Yeah, so it's still not.
So it shouldn't be a thing.
So explain to me why it's there. If it wasn't needed at one point in time, because it was my belief that affirmative action was placed there because certain establishments weren't hiring at the time. Now it may be an old doctrine.
That we're both assuming. Let's just say it was there for that reason. I'm just saying now we don't need it.
Okay.
We don't need it anymore.
I can agree with that.
It's an old thing from the past that we don't need.
But I don't see why still lazy. I would believe it should be even stronger that the whites are lazier than us because they don't have to have affirmative action. They're automatically getting accepted if they have the grades or not.
But that's not true. They have to make the grades
to begin with. If they didn't have affirmative action to begin with, that means all whites were going through, no blacks were getting through, nobody was getting through other than them. So they had to put an affirmative action for that reason.
That's not true. Asians have always been.
So they put an affirmative action because they're Asians.
No, because it's the myth that it was white people getting into colleges just because they're white. It was a political thing.
So why did they make affirmative action? To show the graph that it's not true?
It was politics. It was bad politics.
I don't know, man.
So they dropped the ball by putting it in there, period, because it made it look racist as fuck.
I'm saying
it made it seem like there's nothing but white people in colleges.
Yes. Or that colleges were holding black people back from getting in.
But what if they were until they put that in action?
Maybe they were. I'm just saying now they don't. Now they don't need it. And I think that's what he's saying is after, how many years has it been now since civil rights? Almost 60 years?
60 plus, yeah.
Yeah.
60 plus, yeah.
So now after 60 years, black people have gotten lazier because they don't have to shoot higher because they're just going to get things handed to them. That's ultimately a bad thing for black people. And that's why black people haven't grown in 60 years.
I don't know about that.
His argument is this, that he said he grew up during Jim Crow era. And he said that coming off of slavery, black people were actually doing well in the, not right away, but in the rebuilding process.
Yeah.
They were actually doing well and creating businesses and inventing things and then when the whole political aspect got involved with the civil rights era, where they started telling black people you're being held back by this country and this and that, it created this culture of racism.
Well, no, don't do that, because at that you can't.
Why not?
So
bro,
as soon as they went free, everybody was
hold on. You can't tell me that if there's a water fountain that says colors only and white only, bro. This is during that era. The civil rights needed to happen.
I'm saying what he's saying. I wasn't there.
But we have
what
pictures.
I'm saying though is now the evidence that I have
happening
is that black people weren't doing well, and now not even just black people. Other races are getting on government assistance and living off of welfare, and they're not doing well either. And also, other races are not having 2-parent households anymore. From what I got they're not doing well.
From what I got from the video is he was trying to say that racism, even back then when he was during the Jim Crow era, was just laws. It wasn't racism. So once they extinguished that law, racism extinguished with it, because it was just something that they're forced to do by law.
I think what he was saying was that racism never held black people back from succeeding and creating things. It's not racism that's holding black people back. It's this handling black people with
but see,
kid
who
gloves.
picks and chooses anything anyway when everything happens? If someone invented something, who do they have to go to say, hey, I invented this, let's get this popping?
The patent office.
And what's that?
The government.
The government.
And who's that? Majority of
white people.
All right.
How do you know that though?
Because
you're
the
just
country
saying
is majority
things.
white people.
Yeah, but how do you know that means the government is majority white people?
Oh, come on, you know the government is majority white people. Look
how do you know
Senate.
that?
Look at the Senate. Bro, the Senate is majority white
There's
people.
a lot of Spanish people.
Right, but the majority, you're not getting what I'm saying. Yes, there's pockets of different people, but the majority of the Senate
But how does
is
that
white
automatically make it white then? Just because it's the majority. It's
Majority
not all
rules.
white.
Majority rules. Let's just say, for shits and giggles, that
but not all white people are a monolith.
Hold on,
but neighborhoods all have black and have some white people and some Spanish people is still gonna say it's
a black.
So you're
neighborhood.
saying all white people are a monolith then on what they do?
That's not what we're saying.
When it comes to statistics,
I'm saying if there's an agenda that's why I said for shits and giggles. If there's an agenda that group wanted to push based on the fact that they're white, they can do that because the majority rules. That's all I'm saying. This is diversify.
Fair enough. But what's your evidence that they are doing that?
I don't have any. That's why I said shits and giggles.
Oh my gosh, bro. Like, all right. It's whatever, bro. It's always going to be just the evidence. It's sometimes it's clear as day.
I'm not saying to pull out documents and show me. I'm just saying give me logical evidence.
Watch TV. Look at the houses that it's on TV. It was all white people and a few Spanish people. It's predominantly white.
Do you pay attention to politics closely?
Closely, majority of it, yes. I too pay attention to it.
So do you know the ratio as far as like how many like
the ratio is pretty high when it comes to mostly others than white when it comes to, but what they show is what they show, and that's when the people assume that's where majority rules. That's where they assume that's where the racism continues at. You get what I'm saying? If you watch anything like that one where the Rastafarian from New Zealand was bashing the Queen, so they had the whole nation out there. You notice it was most definitely we had the room more than anybody else there. But we don't watch that. We're not watching those things. We're watching impeachments. We're watching CNN. We're watching Fox News. We're seeing it's all white people. So we're just gonna say it's the man. The man is white.
But even if you're watching CNN and Fox News, it's not all white people.
Well, that's what they see. It's the ignorance of what they see. It's the
I don't think they're seeing anything. I think they're just hearing stuff from other people and just going, "Oh yeah, it is all white people."
We could use the show as an example. They see you and they see us and they automatically think you're.
And they see the Trump hat.
Yeah. So we're automatically the coons in the room.
The coons.
You know what I'm saying? It's just all what they see. It's not what's really. Yeah, it's the perception. So with that being said, that's where they get the racism from. But it still has. He still has his wrongs because Jim Crow, even though it was a law, it was still segregated. Segregated is what we still perceive as racism. Because what's the consequence if a colored person drink from a white?
No, I agree with you. Jim Crow is racist, but I just go back to the point that I think he makes it all the time is that it wasn't holding back black people.
But it doesn't hold back black. I could actually agree with that. It shouldn't hold. It doesn't hold no success of a black.
Okay,
person.
so then with the whole thing, because you use that as the example of why what he's saying would be detrimental, like putting out that type of rhetoric. You know what I mean?
His word of play.
Hold on. If segregation didn't hold back black people and wasn't detrimental to black people succeeding, then why would him talking and saying things be detrimental to black people?
Hold on. Do you believe
they're not as strong-willed as they once were back then?
Do you believe in the power of words?
Sort of, yeah.
Sort of. So, I mean, if you say something long enough, it would eventually become the truth.
I also believe, though, that I'm not responsible for what people do with my words.
Right.
That's true.
But I believe...
So if I say something and it blows up and then a cult gets started because of something I said...
It's your fault.
It's not my fault.
It is. Sound like a Joker now.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
But I believe when it comes to black people, then their willpower, their ambition was a lot stronger because they lived it. Since they lived it and then they wanted it to end so bad, they made sure that they did what they had to do to be successful. Nowadays, it is kind of just handouts. It is lazy. And everybody do feel entitled. And it's like they felt like it's just supposed to... This new generation is entitled to everything. Right. They feel like everything should just be handed to them.
That's true.
And this is my whole thing. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
My whole thing is to me, affirmative action, even parts of civil rights was just an overcorrection of something bad that America did.
Okay.
Right? What I'm saying now and what I think Jesse Lee Peterson is saying is now we need to undercorrect it a little bit and pull a little bit away from black people and let black people be on their own and figure it out.
But let's be real. I'm going to be real here. The black people that's talking the most aren't even the ones that are in that bracket of affirmative action. They're not even going to college. Most of them that are talking the most shit about this. So it doesn't
most
even
of them
affect
aren't even trying to do something.
So that the lazy, I don't think the ones where he's saying lazy, even though he uses them as an example with affirmative action, I don't think he's really talking about them. I think he's really talking about them niggas that's honestly just not doing shit with their life, bro. And that's a lot of niggas that didn't even hit college. They didn't even get that chance to have that affirmative action, to feel entitled, to feel lazy about it. They're just lazy on a whole different spectrum.
Right.
And he didn't touch bases on them, but I feel like that's exactly who he's talking about more than the examples he was given. The examples he was given was more like PC than anything else than what he really wanted to say. I think he was talking about them niggas. Them junkies on the street sitting down at corner stores, the loitering, prowling dudes.
No, if you watch his videos, he gets deep into that. I'm just saying, I think like, you know, to judge his entire work, you would have to like actually watch. There was a point where I used to watch all his fucking
and
videos
he did
every
say,
day.
You know, racism is more hate than it is an actual thing. It's just evil people. He believes in evil people, not racist.
He's
people.
a reverend. by the way.
Yeah,
The evil
he
people
thinks,
have
and he
to
thinks
another
Obama's
fucking
ungodly.
crazy reverend.
He said
Jesus
Obama's
Christ.
godless person. He's a godless person because he believes in abortions. But we could go into
But that's the thing. Here's the thing, though, is he's right if he's coming from the aspect of a reverend.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of these preachers and reverends and stuff that are afraid to say that because they don't want to look like they're racist.
I think it's unfair because now you're putting religion in for something that's has really nothing to do with religion, and it's they didn't talk about racism in the Bible like that. They talked about separation more than anything, or exile more than anything.
Well, it's beyond. It is religion is tied into abortion, but it's more of like I think it's a human aspect of like.
What does it have to do with politics?
Controlling? Because everything has to do with politics.
Religion has nothing to do with politics.
There's a politician that wants to legalize fucking goats. TYT, what's up, baby?
There's a politician that wants to legalize fucking goats.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Everything trickles down to politics at some point.
Religion might be one of the most politicized things I've ever.
Yeah. Well, politics are based on religion in a lot of ways.
For him to have the excuses, you shouldn't trust Obama because he's godless. It's not like that's opinion more than politics. That's
based on like, does he believe in God?
Yeah,
but
like
he's also a Trump lover.
Like
so how does he know Trump is so full of God? Like, how does he know that Trump is such
the
a
great white hope?
Well, he's based. He calls him the Great White Hope. He's basing it off of his policies.
He's basing what off?
Yeah, he based everything off of policies.
Off of
back
policies.
into religion.
Yeah. So like for instance,
abortion.
you're a preacher, and Barack Obama legalized gay marriage across the nation. You're probably gonna have a problem with that, and you're probably gonna say it's not of God.
Yeah. But it doesn't mean it's of the country just because it says in God we trust.
Yeah, you're right. Well, that's why it's legal, because it's not all about religion.
Separation of church and state and all that good stuff.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I hope to meet Jesse Lee Peterson someday.
Yeah,
chop it up with him. Go on the Fallen State.
Fucking jump him.
You know that's the only reason.
Face with his sign.
That's the only reason why I would ever go to California.
To go see Jesse Peterson.
To go do it if he ever invited me to do a show. I don't want to go to California for any other reason.
you go to
Not even for the dispensaries.
You get weed
Colorado.
here.
He's like, I get
weed here. It's not a big deal. All right, you motherfuckers. It's time. You know what time it is. We have to go through this all the time, right?
It's so annoying.
Jesus Christ. Like when I'm done talking to you guys, I want to be done.
Yeah, that's true. I'm drained. I'm drained. This is a draining episode today.
I'm contracted.
I'm contractually obligated to do this outro.
Yes, exactly. So just help us.
Fuck this outro.
You just leaving? Go ahead. Well, just go ahead and wait outside.
No, you know what the fucking vibe is, man. Just go click the fucking red subscription box. Click the fucking bell. Get our fucking notifications for weekly things. Watch all our fucking videos. Get them all in the fucking K's. You know what the fucking deal is. We're too cool for this, man.